Good morning and welcome to the December 13th meeting of the Coalition of Little Rock Neighborhoods. First of all, we go around the room and welcome all our guests and they name themselves. I'm Kathy Wells. I'm the president. I'm from the Downtown Neighborhood Association. This is our guest speaker, Terri Hollingsworth, the circuit and county clerk.
Yes.
From the Central High neighborhood in Ward 1.
And do speak up because we have sound questions.
Chris Santafonte, Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition President.
Good morning, Tiffany Trotter with the County Clerk's Office. I am your Community Outreach Director.
Carol Young here from Hillcrest Residents Association, New Voters, whatever everything else, just hanging out.
I'm Gloria Cave, same reference, Hillcrest and the League of Women Voters.
Norman Hodges, Heights Association, Ward 3.
John Vandiver, president of the Heights Neighborhood Association, along with Norman, for co-president.
And we have the press here. Tell us your name and your organization.
Sure. Hi, Nathan Ansell, reporter for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Welcome. And our technician is Mary Henthorne. Thank you. Ward 4. So, please tell us about how we handle absentee voting rights in today's rules and regs and how we restore voting rights to felons, which nobody knows about.
Well, we definitely handle absentee and restoring rights carefully, especially in this day and time in terms of our rights are being eroded away, and that concerns me a great deal. Thank you all for having me today, and certainly glad to always be here with Kathy Wells and all the neighborhood associations. So you guys know everything about our office, so let me go ahead and start with, just so our audience knows, in terms to vote in Arkansas, you have to be a registered voter. Of course, those requirements mean that you have to be a U.S. citizen and an Arkansas resident. You've got to be at least 18 years of age and not to be convicted of a felon and whose sentence hasn't been discharged or paroled. So in terms of restoring voter rights, for those who are returning citizens, the specific steps require you to restore the voting rights, and that means that they have to complete their sentence, they have to pay all their financial obligations, and they have to gather proof of that they finished their parole and their probation, and they have to bring that to the clerk's office because we need a copy of it as we help them restore their voting rights. And then, of course, they fill out their voter registration, and then they get their voter registration card, and they are good to go for any election. And as you know, you don't have to renew your voter registration. Once it's done, it's done.
And we do have some forms there at the sign-in sheet. Be sure you're registered to vote at your present address. People move a lot. Feel free to take some home for absent friends.
Terri, do you have stats on how many people are eligible for that but haven't done it? Or how many have done it? Do you have stats?
I do not have statistics on that. I will tell you that the parole and probation officers don't promote it, and I wish they would promote it, but they do not. So,
I just out of curiosity, trying to figure out everything else. I Googled it, and based on the most recent census, it said that 45% of the people over the age of 18, and that includes convicted felons, right? But in Pulaski County are registered. So 45%, roughly, of the people over the age of 18 are registered.
Wow.
45.
say that again. How many?
45% of the people over the age of 18 are registered. That includes people who are not eligible, people who are not citizens, or people who are felons, is not of all people. As I said, it's based on census information. So it's 25% of everyone over the age of 18.
Okay.
Is considered eligible?
No, this is not.
Repeat it again. I'm missing something.
All right. Within the county, within the Pulaski County, there are numerous people too far from 50%, right?
Right. We have, what is it, 200 and, do you know how many we have registered? It's two, I don't keep it in my head for some reason. It changes. I knew it last week. But we have about 294,000 people who are registered to vote in Pulaski County. So.
Into the Lee County election this time, I know a lot of people were purged, and is the rule on that? I know I'm kind of a little off the subject, but is it you missed 2 federal elections and you're purged from the rolls? Is that correct?
So when you miss 2 federal elections, we are required by law, by the National Voter Registration Act, to make sure that we send out information or confirmation. We send out confirmation cards to say that you still want to be on the rolls, or a card that says that you do want to be off the road, that you moved or something like that. And I forget how many we got back this time. Generally, we don't get a lot back. We send out so many and we don't get a lot back. But we haven't, I guess, do what the word in terms of purge. So after the third time, more
Okay.
so than it is the second time, then the Secretary of State can go ahead and do that. We don't necessarily do it that way.
Is it up to each county clerk to do?
It's definitely up to each county clerk to send out those confirmation
Okay.
cards. And the Secretary of State seems to be the one really interested in terms of purging. What usually happens when they are on that particular list that they haven't voted, they become inactive. Their name is there, but they may not see it on the voter rolls when they go vote. We see it in the clerk's office, but not necessarily the poll workers and that kind of thing, which means it will be inactive when we would see.
Would that keep me from voting?
It depends on how long it's been, because we don't do same day registration. So they would more than likely, to try to diffuse some people who might get irate because they're saying I need to be on those rolls, they would let them do a provisional ballot, let them also fill out a voter application form, and then we'll get that information and they'll be ready for the next time.
So Terry, if we go back to the felons, we tried to go register at Canvas Community on 7th Street. Paul Atkins is the director there. Do you know
Okay,
that?
I don't know. What is Canvas Community?
It's a Methodist church ministry, essentially, a storefront
It
activity.
is related to the Methodist Church, and mainly they serve a meal every night to whoever wants to come, and
Okay.
they have some community. They have a worship service, I think, every Sunday night. And he asked the Leland voters to come help register. So we went down, and a lot of these people said, I'm a felon. I don't have my papers. And so Gloria's done some research into this as well. We need to know where they go to get their records, because, as you know, homeless people come to Little Rock because of the services. So they could have been convicted of something and but if it's a felony, don't they have to go to a federal prison?
No, they don't have to go to a
Okay.
federal prison.
So they could have been convicted in another county, their paperwork may be in another county.
Yes, and that becomes the other issue.
Yeah.
If it's something they did in another county, they have got to go back to that county and bring that paper. If they want to register here, then they've got to bring that paperwork to Pulaski County.
Yeah.
So as you know, at that point, most felons find it hard to get a job.
Yes.
So then, who knows how much transportation they have.
They
So
don't.
then you got to travel. Let's say you got to go to Bentonville.
Yeah.
You got to travel 3 hours, basically 6 hours, 3 hours up, 3 hours back, right?
But they would have to go back, they were discharged from a parole officer?
They were discharged from a parole officer. Really,
So
they
they
should
have
get
to
their
go-
information from the Arkansas Department of Public Safety. It's the ACIC information that they should get. Arkansas Crime
Information Center.
They should get that, and they definitely should contact whoever was their probation officer or that particular county where they should
Yeah.
at least call, you
Yeah.
know, before they start going wherever they need to go. They should call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it your information that they must seek these papers in person?
Yes.
Modern technology tells me that I might call up
Okay,
and
so-
ask for that, or even do a FaceTime so they could identify me properly.
You're going to have to go in person to get it.
Aha.
This is Arkansas. As you know, we still do paper voter registration.
We know.
Yes, they would have to get that in person. I mean, now there may be some clerks like me or like my office. We would be nice enough to email that information to them. The issue becomes if they need a certified copy, how much is, in terms of they need to pay that clerk and that kind of thing.
Okay, but on the discharging of your parole and your probation, so if I'm released from prison and then I'm on parole for 5 years, I cannot, until I finish my parole, try to vote. Is that correct?
You have to finish your parole and probation, or if you had both.
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure you paid all your fines and fees. And then once that's done, you definitely have to get that paperwork and bring that to the clerk's office.
They certainly want to make it easy for us.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And so, same thing, if they're going to do their record to seal, then they got to complete their probation and parole and the court rules and paid all their fines and fees. And then they get their information from the ACIC, and which is also the Arkansas Department of Public Safety is where they get that. And then they can fill out the petition to seal their paperwork. And then they really need an attorney to help. Some try to use legal aid, but I'm not sure if legal aid really helps that many folks in terms of sealing their record, only because they don't have enough staff, I would say, not because they don't want to, but in terms of staffing issues.
So, let me say that back to you. If I wanted to get my prison record sealed,
Mm-hmm.
What conditions allow me to get it sealed?
So of course you have to, the judge would have to determine that, and it depends on your felony. So, but you have to fill out the paperwork for a petition to seal. That's why I said it's probably best to have an attorney, but most folks can't afford an attorney. So that the attorney can help you navigate that particular court system.
How about all of those eager law students we seem to have swarming around 2 different law schools in the state of Arkansas?
Well, Kathy, I'm going to put that up to you to work with those law groups to get that done.
That's a great
There's
idea.
one in my backyard. The worst they can say is no, and they'll probably be polite. So why not ask?
Right.
Because at that 4th year level, I bet they've got the skills to navigate this system. And then we could begin a whole new culture in the law practice.
Yeah, so, I mean, but, it takes a lot. So even with the record to seal, you've got to serve the prosecuting attorney's office, by either delivering it or sending a copy to them. So it's going to cost for them to, of course, the court fees and that kind of thing. So, yes, ma'am.
I just want to share my personal experience so that you all get a sense of how difficult this may be. I, with the League, was out registering voters 2 or 3 times at the bus station. And it seemed to me that every other person I spoke with said, I can't vote, I'm a felon. So piqued my interest, there seemed to be a lot of felons. And we were passing out information put together by the ACLU. So anyone said they were a felon, we gave them one that said something like this. These are steps you take. So after I had been to this center and realized this is heavy lifting for people. I mean, it's pretty direct, straightforward, and honestly, I think pretty liberal for this shape Arkansas is in right now. But it still was too big a hill to climb. So I call the number that on the ACLU printout with the intention of just saying, what do people seem to run into? What makes them stumble? What are questions do they ask you? Just so I can be more informed about what the lay of land out there is. If you are a felon and you're trying to complete this process, well, the phone rang hot. Like 30 or 40 times. And,
Nobody's
uh-huh. And I called, I called back 3 different times of the day, just having grown accustomed to this sort of thing every time you want to talk to us. Anyway, never got anything. And then one day, for some reason, because it would rotate through all the possible numbers, someone else picked up. And I knew that she was not the source for the information I needed, but she answered the phone. And she said, no, that number didn't work anymore, was not for that purpose anymore, but here was the number. So I called that number and sort of laid out my request as being just looking for stumbling blocks, but anything she might have recognized. Well, she couldn't help me because no one had ever called her. And at that point, I gave up, called the ACLU, and gave them that information. And they were going to follow up to try to see. And the woman that finally answered at the correct phone number was very hospitable. She wanted to help. She appeared to be informed. So it wasn't like it was a hostile or uninterested party at all. But it just says that, to me, that somebody needs to be somewhere, because the people that we encounter, like the clerk's office and the ACLU and the information support, seems to be, that work has been done. And it's there for folks like us to figure out how to do.
Good morning and welcome. Please do sign in twice and have some of our coffee, water, or Christmas snacks. Thank you. And then we'll ask you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, there's a gap between who's helping those folks who need that particular assistance. And then I wonder now, in terms of the mood and the climate of voters and non-voters, we have a lot of folks that go, well, why do I need to vote? Which burns me up. I'm just going, do you see what's happening in our world right now? This is why we need representation. But, a lot of folks are so distrustful of government and everything at this point. So I don't know how we do a big PR campaign to get folks to understand that government is not here to solve every problem that we all have, but government is here to help and assist. So, because when that assistance goes away, that's when they get really mad and irritated. But that's one of the reasons why you need to be able to vote and vote for who can protect your interests.
I wonder, is there a way to contact all probation officers in the state? I have no idea how many of those there even are and how that operates. Sounds like that kind of is our missing link. If they discharge someone, they should, like you said, they should have the voter registration right there, but if not, at least explain to the person that they now can go register to vote in the system.
That's a good question. I don't know if there's like a group, one probation officer,
It's a continuing education course for this state. So,
Yeah, we could start with Pulaski County. That helps.
we have thought about, I know there's sometimes, because we, as we
just thinking
strategize
about
in the
the
office,
bosses.
we talk about doing those kinds of things in terms of meeting with the probation officers. But then there's some kind of way we get stalled on something. I'm not sure if it's because there's no way to get to just all of them at one time or what. So, but we'll keep working at that. But that's a good
It's
idea.
their job to discharge somebody and give them some papers. It's in one sentence. Add it on to that. Now you can register to vote.
But there's no motivation to get there. Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
So when someone is fulfills their obligation, whatever it is, they must get a piece of paper saying that they did.
Yes.
they do, discharge papers.
Right. And that's inadequate for this purpose. If I'm the felon and I'm
We add a
bringing
page to the discharge papers that says restore your voting rights. Just make it part of the institutional printout.
well, I'm just saying, though, if I'm the felon and I've got my discharge paper in hand, that is insufficient to bring to you.
No, that's what you bring to me.
So arguably, every felon already has the paperwork needed.
Arguably, yeah. But But you know what happens when you take a piece of paper home?
Oh,
and
sure.
where it happens with.
Oh, sure, but that's very useful information for me because some of them, some felons already have what they need.
Yes.
Does the discharge paper also include that you paid all your fees?
Oh,
and
you
all
wouldn't
of
be
this
doing
good stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not gonna give you separately on here.
All clear. As you've been discharged, paid, and satisfied, and court
All you
paid
find
court
is
costs.
with-
That's gonna
So
say.
All you find is
paper's gonna-
restitution. I can't say that a discharge paper gives all that
Yeah.
information. There's
Yeah.
not one document
We don't
that
even know that.
says you've done all of that.
Is there like a card that could be created that they could put in their wallet that would say?
Ooh, that sounds like another governmental entity.
Idea that they can carry it with them and that way they'll.
A laminated companion to their ID card.
Little card, like an ID.
Okay. I put you in charge of that.
That's a great idea.
Terry, are you familiar with the Arkansas Adult Probation and Parole Association?
I am not. But you can certainly send that information to me and we'll connect with, or give it to Tiffany. Huh?
Yeah, per Google, it exists.
Per Google it exists. I've never heard of it.
The Arkansas what?
Arkansas Adult Probation and Parole Association. Just Google,
How much longer? Am I finished?
yeah, Association of Arkansas.
You can quit when
Parole.
you're taking into.
Well, I mean, the Pulaski, I
You
mean,
could take the
when I was on the parole board, the parole and probation is all in North Little Rock under Jim Cheek. I mean, that's where everybody goes in Pulaski County, and everybody has that. And the association, I imagine, is that Pulaski County or is that
No,
statewide?
this is statewide.
Because they had their meetings at the same time we would have our
Parole.
commission meetings, yes. And that is a perfect time to address this. Now, I will say, what happens to a probation officer and parole officer is they have so many people they're trying to keep up with and find, and they get so overwhelmed that I can see how it get lost in the shuffle, something like, because they're trying to get these people jobs and transportation and a meal the next day and all that kind of thing, so.
And they have too heavy a
They
caseload, which
have
we've
too heavy
argued
a
for
caseload.
decades.
So, it is gonna take other people outside of the parole, I would think, person being able to handle that, and I love the idea of the card because they do get so many papers, but that card is a great idea, I think.
I think that is a great idea. And as you know,
Welcome, sign in
welcome.
twice, have some refreshments.
I was just going to say, even though they have a heavy caseload, it's leadership in terms of whoever their bosses are, in terms of telling them what they need to tell these, folks who just got out of.
And just
jail.
institutionally print the information and be part of that and say,
Yeah.
you're going to read discharge number page 1, and let's say fines paid page 2, and something page 3, and now page 4 is restore voting rights, and here's where you go and who you talk to. The absolute best piece of advocacy that we can undertake is to put in some institutional issue this information that's just printed off automatically and handed out automatically and doesn't unduly burden the probation and parole officers. They don't need to remember it. They don't need to lecture about it. They just need to remember to hand that print out.
So Don, how would the parole board be in public any of this?
How would the parole board help
Yeah.
with it? It's just two separate things. They're just like really separate. But I think talking to the person that's in charge of the secretary that works on the cabinet with the governor, that'd be probably where to start. But I don't mind at all like talking to Lana McCaslin, who's now the chairman of the parole board, to see, what if they do. I want to see if they give that package out now and everything too. I'm gonna see if that's in their discharge.
Good.
Well, I'm not on the pro board anymore. I didn't
I know
get
you're not.
reappointed.
We have great community information at this table.
Yeah, I think that's great to at least find out and see what's going on with that. But as you know, politics is going to play a big role in that.
That's a little bit of the problem too.
And so
Yes,
if
we all know
you've
that.
got, if most of those appointees are by the governor or the leadership of our current legislature, then,
They're 100% now.
right,
Mhm.
so. But that doesn't mean we can't try, that doesn't mean that we don't fight.
That's right.
All I'm saying is just understand the politics are gonna be involved.
Well, at the end of the day, the individual citizen, like you talked about, I want to apologize for being late. The individual citizen has to motivate themselves to vote. We live in Sherwood, and we just had a $93 million issue on a special election. I believe, 8% of the voting bloc turned out to vote on a $93 million issue. So the average citizen, whether it's coming out of jail or just plain Jane American, has got to vote. They've got to decide my vote does count. Because if you think about it, in a society with so many thousands and thousands of people, you think to yourself, well, does my vote really count? And how many people start doing that? Does my vote really count? Does my vote really count? That's one of the protections of our U.S. Constitution, is the right to vote. And so these kind of meetings are good, but from this meeting, we have to grow it organically. You have to talk to your neighbors. Don't forget, go vote. I don't care how you vote, just vote. Because what's also the saying, if you don't vote, you can't complain, right? So we've got to find a way to motivate people to vote. And so when these folks come back into society, you're trying to give them the supplies that they need to get back on track. But at the end of the day, like every other human being in this county, you've got to want to vote. You've got to think it's worth voting for. And so and how do you do that? Well,
we
everybody's got
also
to
invite electeds to this table to hold them into accountability for the basics of living. And we do it pretty much linking all the levels, which few groups do. But the Coalition of Little Rock Neighborhoods cares about the city, the county, the school district, the state, and the federal government actions. And we will ask folks to come talk. We asked for the sitting county judge and the two opponents to attend at the 11 o'clock hour to talk about competing land use plans, which do have an impact of concern to us living in the city. That makes us part of the No Sewage in My Drinking Water Club, as I say. We got the sitting judge declined. One candidate declined because he was conducting a funeral at the same hour. And we do have the other candidate, Mr. Russian, who's just come in. Please introduce yourself and your assistant.
My name is Michael Russian. I'm a lifelong resident of Central Arkansas. And after 30 years of nonprofit leadership, 30 years of managing real estate portfolios, I decided to step to the next level to help the greater good. And I was looking, where does my skill set best fit? Now, I've never written a piece of legislation in my life, so looking at the State House and the State Senate was kind of like, well, I could get in there and figure it out, but where do I best fit? And county judge is about managing tax dollars, work crews, things I do every single day. So I appreciate you allowing me to be here. I apologize for being tardy this morning. This is my better half, Marlene Michael. She's my executive director. I've known her since 4th grade. I had chased her for 40 years, and I finally got her on the hook. So she didn't know back then that a middle-aged, half-bald, fat man was who she wanted in her life, but by God, she got stuck with it.
Welcome. We will be taking more on that later. We have another comer. Introduce yourself.
I'm Terri Drennan. I run the Ferndale Crime Watch, and I am involved in all things keep the city out of our rural, unincorporated areas. So I've been involved in all that for a very long time now.
And if it seems like the city's coming your way, then you take heed and you get involved. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Terry, you've got some handouts for us.
These handouts, of course, deal with restoring the rights of convicted felons. So when you're out there doing voter registration drives, or even just know some folks who need this information, you can share that with them in terms of what they need to do. We also have some information about check your voter status. They can when we do
I think I need to
packets-
pass this around. Mary, take it and pass
Well,
it.
when we do packets in our office, we put this in the packet so that when you do voter registration drives, folks can just scan this to see, to find out if they're actually registered and those kinds of things. You know, when you're out there, folks will say, "I'm already registered." That's just so. A lot of times they say that so that you won't stop them. They don't want you to stop them. They don't want to fill out anything. And sometimes you can say, "Well, hey, let's check your voter registration status." And then you find out they're not registered, and that way you could possibly sign them up. So
It's kind of like going in Sam's and buy the AT&T shop. I always say, "Oh, my woman's got a corporate plan. I'm good."
Well, as you guys know, I'll just finish up. We have, of course, 3 ways to vote in Arkansas: absentee, election day, and oh my God, early voting.
Yeah, out there, Terri.
Early voting. And so, please, if you know folks who definitely want to vote and they are homebound for whatever reason, on January 1st, January 2nd, they need to be calling our office so that they can get the absentee ballot application. They have to do it every year. As you guys may know, a couple of years back, the legislature changed it where we can't send out the information to them like we used to be able to. The person has to call every year to say, "I need an absentee ballot for all elections." And so just make sure that they get those.
And the key to a lot of these is going to be the administrator of the nursing home that's in your neighborhood. They do have the ability to order for all of their patients, right?
Yes.
So if Madam Administrator at the Blossoms on Cumberland in downtown Little Rock is willing, I can go to her and get her to, one, make sure that everyone is registered by, technically the law is February 2, but as you can see, this is a complicated and lengthy process. So they need to basically do it for Christmas.
Yes. And if they live in District 70, they need to be registered by, are we past that deadline? I think it was December 8th.
That's the Franklin County folks.
District 70 is North Little Rock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's, we're having a special election. Yeah.
Across the river is a little beyond our membership. Thank you, but that is not on our plate.
Well, I mean, it's on the plate for Pulaski County residents because it's part of Pulaski County.
That's true.
Carl.
That is true.
Carl, what's the man's name that just sliced PDS?
Wingfield.
Carlton Wingfield.
Wayne.
Wing, okay. Carlton Wing.
Wing.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I called him Carl, but anyway.
I knew when he was a sportscaster.
Okay.
Totally.
Right.
So, but anyway, that's the seat he vacated. So there are 2 Democrats vying for that position and 1 Republican vying for that position. And that election is going to be January 6th.
Okay. As I said, not really on our plate, but glad to keep attentive to all of that.
And then
So that will be, Terry, will that be the primary?
the primary is January 6th, and then the general is, of course, the March 3rd election.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Yeah, I got it.
yes.
And they have to run again.
Yeah, so early voting, of course, for the March 3rd election is February 17th through March 2nd. And then, of course, the election is March 3rd. And then everybody must be registered, like you said, by February 2nd to participate in that primary election.
And we have our candidate forum for the competing races on that March ballot that will be back here in the building down the hall in the auditorium on February the 14th, right before early voting, because we're the second Saturday crew. Sorry about it overlapping with the lovers' romantic Valentine's celebrations. But we are going to start at 9 o'clock to get it done early in the day so you can go about the rest of your day. But put February the 14th on your calendar, please.
Thank you again for having me today. I want to certainly encourage you all and your constituents in your neighborhood associations to follow the clerk's office on social media. We are on, of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, that X thing, Instagram. So And certainly, you can come to our, go to our website, www.pulaskiclerkar.gov. So just want to make sure you stay connected with us. And watch out for any scams that are going on as well. So we want to make sure that our folks are being aware of what's going on in our...
Do you have absentee ballot step-by-step instructions?
Yes.
Are there any to hand out today?
Do not have any to hand out today.
Okay. Can you email me kind of the flyer as an attachment to the
Yes,
flyer,
ma'am.
and I'll send it out to my network of some 70-odd folks, recipients. Okay?
Okay.
Is this on the website? Could we print one of these out from your website or no?
I am not sure about that, but you can have that.
I don't know if somebody from the league has, League of Voters has this, but I'm going to see some of this afternoon. I'm going to make sure that goes with any voter registration.
You can have as many as you want. You can copy that as well.
Well, Miss Kathy, if you or anyone on the team here needs anything, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to draft it up. Likely, we already have it ready, and I'll just send it over to you.
And your number is? Slowly.
Let me give you my email first. It is Trotter, so it's TTROTTER at PulaskiClerkAR.gov.
A lot of T's.
That's just a lot of
Sound like you had a stutter there.
Okay.
And then my work cell phone number for you privy is 501-813-5542.
And you're going to repeat that.
Yes, ma'am. 501-813-5542. And you're more than welcome to text.
Oh, goody. That is a nice tool.
Just leave me a voicemail.
Thank you all, and keep fighting out there. You guys do a great job, all of you. All right.
Thank you much. We're going to close this recording and take a 5-minute break and set up a little bit for the next discussion about the competing land use plans. So this concludes the Terri Hollingsworth presentation at the December 13th meeting of the Coalition of Neighborhoods. This was live streamed on our Facebook page. The recording link will be posted on that Facebook page at clrn.ar. Thank you.